All righty. I will start sharing. Hopefully, share the right one. And hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2026 College Data Jam finale. This was another really interesting year. My name is Brian McDonald. I should introduce myself, sorry. I am the president of the Data Jam, and I also work for a company called Oracle. I worked in their AI Center of Excellence and currently do some product managing work. But what we're going to do today is one, we're just going to go through the posters as you just saw. We're going to talk a little bit more about the projects and mentoring and data science AI in the current world today, all in anticipation of announcing the winners at the end. So I'd like to welcome everybody from El Camino College, Skyline College, and Sinclair College. In particular, hi to El Camino College. I used to live in Torrance, right down the road from you guys. So I have a special affinity for where you guys are coming from. But it didn't influence judging at all. But first, I wanted to just kind of let you guys get a little scope of the Data Jam. So you guys are focused on your projects. You worked with your mentors that we're going to talk a little bit more about in just a moment, and your advisors, your teachers, and you got together and you created these wonderful posters and presentations. But behind the scenes, there is a larger group of folks. Some of the people will be on the finale broadcast today, but we have an advisory board that does a lot of volunteer work to make sure that everything runs smoothly. You guys get the help you need to work on your projects. And then we have our judges. The judges are there to look at your posters, be there for the presentations, give you feedback, and answer any questions. And all of this is all on a volunteer basis. So first, I wanted to thank everybody involved. We can't do this without your continuous support. But we also have a lot of other sponsors. PPG is a huge financial supporter of ours to help run the organization. We have the Data Jam Advisory Board, University of Pittsburgh. We partner with other universities besides the University of Pittsburgh, like Carnegie Mellon, UC San Diego, Caldwell University. There's a group called Women in Data Science Worldwide who helps us with the judging and is a wonderful organization to get involved in. The Mark Cuban AI Foundation there supports us as well. And they actually have teams in the high school Data Jam. And of course, corporate sponsors as well. Pfizer, Merck, AT&T, Google, all help us in many ways, either by hosting presentations, letting us use their space for other events, and just generally being interested in the work that you do. And as college students, I know careers are very important. So this is a way to gain, exposure to the world of data science and AI. So again, thank you to all of our sponsors. We really appreciate your partnership. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about AI. There was some AI in discussions in one of the posters and presentations that people spoke to before. I'm going to click stop instead of just looking at a big AI on the screen. But what I wanted to mention is in my role at Oracle, I work with large customers implementing data science AI projects, very similar to what you guys worked on. And the big question these days is how is AI going to change what we do, who we hire, how we go about doing our business? And I've actually been asking a lot of my customers, how has your job changed over the last year? And are you worried about losing your job to AI? And there's some good news for you guys as you start your careers. While I believe, is going to automate a lot of the math and statistics processing, writing Python code, doing Excel work, that is not the most important part. Companies tell me all the time is we need people who know how to solve problems. So as you think about your posters and your projects where you start off with a research question, that is so, so critical. Getting that research question, creating your hypothesis, then going through all the data work to get the answer, which that part can be automated by AI. But then the last part of what does that data tell you? What does your analysis tell you? How can you implement what you see? Is what you're seeing real? And then what policies, procedures, recommendations you do with this that then has to use more data to test. Those front end and back end are so, so critical. And I do not think that is going to be overtaken by AI anytime anytime soon. So as you think about your projects and how it relates to kind of future careers in whatever discipline you want, keep that in mind because you'll have more help with AI to do some of the, I'll say the grunt work of just processing through the data. But understanding what you're asking is so, so critical. And believe it or not, there's a lack of that in the industry. You'll hear about data scientists as the people who do a lot of this work, and they do a lot of that work today. But that's because they have the technical programming, math, and statistics skills. They aren't universally as good at understanding a problem or a business problem and figure out what's the right question. If you give them a question, they can help solve it. So I see all the work that you did on your projects being applied to many, many disciplines. So if you're a biologist or a geologist out in the field and you want to answer a question of like, why does this formation of rocks look like it is or like look like it does? That's a data problem you can now go solve. So no matter what discipline you're really thinking about in a career, just think about what you've done for this project will apply as long as you apply those core principles of creating your questions, doing the hypothesis, having solid methods, then evaluating, analyzing, and making recommendations. So with that, I'm going to wrap up my little speech and turn it back over to Judy Cameron.
Thank you. Well, I am super excited to be here today. And the first thing I'm going to do is introduce our keynote speaker, Ajit Subramanian. Now, I've known Ajit for some time. I first met him in 2021 when he took the DataJam Mentor course, which is offered at the University of Pittsburgh in the Department of Statistics. But because the data gem has been expanding a great deal over the last few years, we teach the course in a room that the university has put together that has Zoom screens all around, and we can connect to other universities. So, the University of California at San Diego, Caldwell University in New Jersey, San Francisco State University, as well as students from other universities individually from around the country have participated in the DataJam Mentor course. And in that course, we, of course, teach how do you teach statistics to high school and community college groups? How do you get other students really engaged in data science? But we also teach how do you work with diverse communities? Because now that the Data Gem is a national competition, we have communities from many, many different areas, from lots of urban areas, but also from a lot of rural areas, from Native American reservations, from communities right along the border of the U.S. And so we bend over backwards to meet the needs of all the students everywhere in the country, and the mentors get training in how to do that. And then what's been really interesting over the years is that the high school and community college students actually ask lots of questions about the ethics of data science. And this is a topic that Brian has brought up a number of times because as you start to think about the role of AI in data science, you start thinking about how can this be offered in a very fair way to communities everywhere. And so we talk about this with the mentors so they're prepared to answer questions of the various teams. So I met Ajit at that time. He was a very, very active mentor for the 3 years he was at the University of Pittsburgh. He was an applied mathematics and statistics major, so it might not be surprising that he was interested in becoming a data gem mentor. But he left in 2024 and he went to graduate school, getting a master's at Georgia Tech. And he has had some of the most interesting data science jobs and worked on a wide variety of projects. And it seemed like he would be the ideal person to talk to you. All of you are thinking about as soon as you get out of college, where are you going to find a job? And we've invited him today to talk about the variety of projects he's done and kind of open up the field and let you know about this. So, Ajit, it's a really great pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Dr. Cameron. With that, I will get started. Just want to start off saying hello, everyone. My name is Ajith, as Judy already introduced, and I'm talking about my journey with the Data Jam, as well as some of the current work I've done during my master's, as well as some of my future plans. So I'm hoping that whatever I'm going to be talking about will resonate with some of you, and maybe could spark some inspiration for some future projects or aspirations. So to start off, I just want to do a quick about me. I was born and raised in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, which is in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, around 15 minutes from Harrisburg, PA, for context. During undergrad, I attended the University of Pittsburgh, where I majored in applied math. And during that time, I was a Data Jam mentor from the years of 2021 up until I graduated in 2024. Currently, I'm a master's student at Georgia Tech, where I'm majoring in computational science and engineering, specifically specializing in machine learning. And I am currently a student, but I'm actually done now and I'm set to graduate next week. So I'll be having a master's degree then. So yeah, thank you. Some of the main research and career interests that I have are specifically in AI and data science and its use in community-based applications. And then a more researchy, like technical interest I have is in improving the robustness and safety of many flagship AI models currently being deployed by all these different companies. So I'll be expanding on that a bit later. So to start off, I want to talk about the start of being exposed to DataJam, which is actually taking the DataJam course. So it was my first semester on campus, and I took the class, which was taught by Dr. Cameron at the time. And it was my first ever exposure to big data and large level databases. I had exposure to all these different softwares, and I'm sure you guys have used at least one of these at one point or another: Excel, R, Python, Tableau. Additionally, looking at regional data sets in the area, being for the Pittsburgh area, looking at the Western Pennsylvania Regional Data Center. Additionally, looking at public government data sets from the NIH, and looking at specific sort of tracking methods like census tracks. Um, During that time as well, we also got the opportunity to do our own data science or project as like our little own class data jam, or if you want to say. So there, I did a project actually on finding the strongest predictors of food insecurity in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh has a big issue of having food deserts where there's a large lack of grocery stores in several different neighborhoods. So that was actually my first ever data science project, and it was a very large influence in how I view the field today. I know my first initial exposure to big data was watching actually the Facebook trial against the government, where I found out there was a big data breach in Facebook, and there was all the memes with Mark Zuckerberg and everything. Um, a lot of the stigma surrounding big data is pretty negative in the public space. And this was the first time where I got to see data being leveraged in community-based applications, showing that, okay, if we can leverage data science and ML for making a positive social impact, it can actually have very positive ramifications on your local communities and even nationwide. So, expanding on that, I became a Data Jam mentor, where I got to work with four different teams over the span of 3 years, where teams worked on a wide variety of projects. I'm sure something similar to maybe what you guys have been looking at. Some of the main examples are looking at causes of things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, maybe even some financial projects like looking at predictors that could cause overdraft fees on bank accounts. So it was very fulfilling to not only teach teams, kind of help them grow from having very little exposure to data science to actually building up to making this whole project, but also a great learning experience. It's cool to see how teams are actually able to isolate ideas and find things that are actually affecting their local communities and using data to actually solve these problems. And again, it kind of helped fed into that inspiration and sort of career goal of mine to do that. So that was a big goal going into my master's, where I really wanted to continue pursuing this interest of leveraging machine learning and data science for social good. So a big thing that I did was I made sure to leverage that and do these sort of projects whenever I could. Thankfully, in grad school, there's a lot of flexibility to the type of projects you can do. So during my classes, I'll try to do projects where I could do those applications. Additionally, I would do different clubs or fellowships, or even work with different research labs on different types of research projects. Some examples I want to talk about. At Georgia Tech, there is a club or organization called the AI Safety Initiative. We're looking at improving the safety of a lot of AI, of a lot of flagship AI models, and they do a lot of different research as well, providing funding to some students. Additionally, a club I'm also working with is Electrify GT, which is a pretty cool club looking to actually implement proper sustainability practices on Georgia Tech campus. Specifically, they really care about implementing EVs into the campus. They also are working with the Delta Airlines HQ now as well in Atlanta, which is pretty cool. So, to kind of expand on this, I want to talk about some of the projects that I did. I hope that maybe they could be some inspiration to you guys. Some of them might be related to some of the stuff that you're doing as well. To start off with, I wanted to talk about a project specifically in the healthcare field. So this is a project where I worked on debiasing an AI model trained for post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD diagnosis. So a lot of this is very AI machine learning heavy. It might not be what you guys are doing in your projects currently, but again, the big thing here is using kind of the knowledge and leverage of statistics and math and applying that into an application that can make a positive social impact. So what we did was we built a neural network architecture trained on a clinical data interview data set from the University of Southern California, which consisted of audio and transcript data to that diagnose PTSD. So one thing we found was that during the actual evaluation of the model was exhibiting gender bias. And we found this out by basically seeing that the model was very good at predicting the gender of a person based on just the PTSD diagnosis, which meant that there was an intrinsic bias when actually making the decision. So the way we solved this problem was we implemented what's called a discriminator network to the end of the original architecture. What this means is we're implementing a separate neural network, which can basically is optimized to decrease that chance of prediction, trying to force a gender blind prediction and be objective. So this sort of architectural method is a way to maintain performance while mitigating bias. Usually, a big way, the standard way of mitigating bias is to just resample a data set, though that has its issues because it actually decreases performance as you're removing a lot of data from your training. So this was a cool thing that we did. And yeah, it has really good applications to the healthcare field. A big thing in healthcare is you want to make sure your analysis and whenever you're using, whatever technology you're using is objective. So the next project I want to talk about is in optimizing fleet electrification. So this is the project that I'm working on with Electrify GT. So we're looking to create this sort of optimal way of converting the university vehicle fleet to a fully electric one. Now, there are a ton of variables that come into this. An example would be doing how can we do this while minimizing costs? What's actually feasible for a fleet manager to implement? What sort of timelines are there? Things like that. So our task, what we've been working on is using the current Georgia Tech fleet data, which includes things like vehicle model, year, specifications, and annual usage. How can we actually optimally electrify the fleet in the best way possible that fits the certain constraints that we have? So there's this little sort of complex visual of what it looks like, of like a small aspect of our algorithm. But one thing that we're looking to do is a sort of incremental process where we're trying to do small increments and electrify small groups of the fleet over a period of time. And then as well, the gas vehicles that get retired, some of them are actually more fuel efficient than the other current vehicles in the fleet. So if we replace the inefficient vehicles with these now retired efficient vehicles, we can actually have a more efficient fleet streamlined as time goes on, allowing us for more operating savings during the process, right? So again, these are two of the projects that I'm doing. They might be, there's a lot more intricacies and things about them. If you have any more questions about them, feel free to reach out to me. I can definitely talk more about it. Um, but yeah, so with that in mind, I want to talk about some future plans that I have. I am still currently applying for jobs in this quite rough job market, but I'm applying for a wide range of different AI and ML roles. I'm looking specifically at university labs and industry where I want to keep a focus on social impact in my work. Trying to do work where I can leverage these things for applications that actually have that positive impact. Another big thing I'm interested in is AI and data governance. I don't know if any of you guys are interested yourselves, but now more than ever in the US, AI policy and AI regulation is pretty imperative. From some of the work I did at the AI Safety Initiative, I found that the US is pretty far behind compared to the likes of the EU and China in terms of this. So it's a great field to get into if you're interested. And one thing that I'm currently applying for, that I just sent an application for a couple weeks ago, is the PA Governor Science and Technology Fellowship, which is a state government fellowship to help implement technologies and different types of technologies into their workflows, as well as working with to implement proper policy in different fields. So yeah, that's all I have. I know you guys might have questions. If you have any questions about the projects that I did, as well as like advice on applying to grad school if you're interested, here's my email and my number. If you want to take a picture, feel free to reach out. I'm open to any questions right now as well. And I'll also be here if you guys have questions later on. You could type in the chat. I can just reply real quick. But yeah, um, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. And I really recommend you take advantage of this. G is very personable, easy to talk to, and would be glad to provide advice. So, really good job. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
am going to share my screen now if you stop sharing. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's new with the Data Jam this year. So I'm going to start with the personnel. And we are really fortunate this year that we have a number of new people working with the Data Jam. Lucas Troy is the web designer for the Data Jam, and he's worked with us for a number of years, operating the website, constantly keeping it up to date, adding new things, and making sure that notifications of everything are on the website. So we're extremely appreciative of Lucas's work. We this year were able to raise funds so that we could hire a communications manager, and we've never had somebody doing this before. But Katie Minahan, and you'll see a recording of her in just a minute, is our communications manager. She's been handling social media. And as I'll show you in a moment, she's done a phenomenal job with social media. So our presence has increased a great deal this year. The project manager is new this year too, and Joey Stutter is somebody that all of you have interacted with. He runs the Data Jam and kind of interfaces with all the teams, all the teachers and professors, the judges, and keeps us all in line. And then for the first time this year, we were also able to have a regional project manager in Southern California. California has become a really big Data Jam hub, and you have three of the four teams in the community college Data Jam are in California. You have Skyline College in San Bruno and El Camino in Torrance. And so having a California project manager, Brenda Lee, has been really wonderful. Oh, let me move into, sorry about that. So I want to introduce you to Katie Minahan. She was not able to be here right now, but she recorded a message for you. So let me put her up here.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie. I'm the communications manager for the Data Jam. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of the Data Jam team as a communications manager since October 2025. Since then, we've seen a significant increase in our social media engagement. I was excited to introduce new initiatives to the Data Jam social media strategy. Some examples of these initiatives are having the Data Jam mentors show collaboration sessions with their teams, asking Data Jam mentors to speak about their experience with the Data Jam, and our new judge interview series. We've also implemented an incentive program with the new mentor leaderboard. The mentor leaderboard awards mentors for engaging with us on social media or submitting videos for us to use and edit in our posts. I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to see the impact of these initiatives I've brought to the Data Jam, and I look forward to seeing what this brings in the future. Thank you.
So I just wanted to share with you a few graphs of what's happened with social media this year. We have social media channels on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And what you're looking at here is Katie's start date was right here between September and October of this year. Before that, our social media presence on Instagram had been very good during the finale, but very variable at all other times of the year. Since we've had Katie here, she has instituted all sorts of interesting interactions, and you see very consistent levels of views on Instagram at a much higher level than we had last year. And if you look at this faint red line, you're looking at interactions on Instagram, and boy, have they increased. They are just skyrocketing right now. So this is super exciting. And then this graph shows you LinkedIn, and it looks very much the same. Since Katie started, we have a very high level of views. And again, the red line is showing you interactions, which are going up. And this was March. And so in April, the beginning of April, you're going to see that they're getting higher and higher as we get close to the finale. So we're very excited about this. We hope all of you have been interacting on LinkedIn. Now, the DataJam has been running for 12 years, and it's got larger and larger every year. And you could ask, why is the DataJam so engaging? We think there are two reasons for this. The first is that students choose a question they're interested in, so they have ownership over their project. And you all know that. You got to pick your project, you got to focus on something you're really interested in. But another big reason that makes the DataJam very different than any other program offered in data science across the country is the teams receive individualized mentoring from their very own DataJam mentor. So here's this year's mentors. We're very lucky to have 55 mentors. They were from 3 universities, University of Pittsburgh, Caldwell University, and the University of California at San Diego, and quite a diverse team of mentors. As Katie mentioned, we have very much wanted to recognize the DataJam mentors, so Katie introduced the DataJam Mentor Leaderboard. So trying to bring attention to social media initiatives where mentors are interacting with their teams and posting little videos of their interactions with their teams. They're awarded points for that. And we thought we would give mentor awards, and we've never done that before. And Katie's intuition that mentors and teams would really love this did not disappoint. The winners this year were Kranjula Sharma, who was a mentor to one of the high school teams, Bisbee, Arizona, which is right on the border of Mexico and Arizona. Shanya Pudal, who was mentor for Nutley High School and Passaic High Schools in New Jersey, and Sumiksha Sigdel, who was a mentor of one of the college teams, Sinclair Community College. And she's agreed to talk with us in just a few minutes. They did phenomenally, and they will all be receiving gift cards.
Hi there, I'm Katie. I'm the Communications Manager for the DataJam. This is my first year working with the DataJam, and I'm really excited to introduce new ways to expand our online presence and help connect students to more professionals at the DataJam. Congratulations to our top mentors shown here on the leaderboard. Your participation has been extremely impactful in the DataJam's online growth. Thank you again, and I look forward to continuing these initiatives in future semesters.
Okay, let me stop sharing here. And we are very, very lucky to have 2 of the mentors who mentored the Sinclair and Skyline college teams speaking with us. I don't believe that we have Dr. Ferraro here. He wasn't sure he would be able to make it. But these are Samiksha Sigdel and Samiksha.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Excellent.
Hi.
Okay. We would love to hear your thoughts on mentoring.
Thank you. Firstly, I wanted to sincerely thank the DataJam team for this opportunity. I'm truly grateful to be part of such an inspiring team. This year, I had the privilege to mentor Sinclair Community Team 1. And it was wonderful. I can confidently say that it was really an amazing experience. The team was really dedicated, curious, and hardworking. We mostly worked with the Excel part and Canva while making their presentation and analyzing all their data. But watching them grow, ask like thoughtful questions, and push themselves was really honestly very rewarding. And one thing I think I have realized through this experience is that mentoring isn't like just about helping others. I think it's more about like learning and growing yourself too. And throughout this journey, I gained so much knowledge, new perspective, the real world experience that I think it will really help me carry forward in my career as well. And the other part of my data jam experience was being active on social media. Like I was really active on LinkedIn and Instagram as well, but mostly on LinkedIn. And seeing all the professionals and participants share their ideas, insights, and knowledge was really inspiring to me. I think it showed me how powerful a learning community can be when like people openly share and support each other. And overall, I think that the Data Jam has been more than just a program for me. It's been a space for me to grow, connect with everyone, and it was like continuous learning. And I'm really, really thankful for that. So thank you again for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We were delighted to have you this year. And the
Thank you.
other mentor we have here, I think, is Kelvin Adjei, who mentored one of the Skyline teams. Kelvin,
Hi everyone.
hi there.
Mentoring has been great. The kids were very like open-minded when it comes to choosing like the project. They communicated throughout the time, sent me messages, always asked me for help. Oh, he's in the chat. But yeah, as you can see, I think we presented on Tuesday, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
And it went really well. So I just want to thank them. And yeah, that's my short message.
And not only did they present on Tuesday, but Kelvin was right there with them, as was Samiksha. I mean, I think the mentors really develop a rapport with their teams and they care a great deal that they do well. So, Samiksha and Kelvin, thank you so much. You're very, very valuable, and we're so honored to have you working with us. Again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you the short video clips that each team made about their projects. And this is a lead in to going back to Brian, who will announce the awards. So let me just share my screen.
Our research problem is AI deleting the entry-level job through a Python data analysis of U.S. household income distributions and ethnic wealth gaps from 2019 to 2024. As AI is becoming more apparent on cognitive tests, we thought this was an important issue to tackle. And how we got this study was through U.S. Census household income data, where their goal was to identify structural changes in income distribution. While we ensured the accuracy by adjusting 2019 income values to 2024 dollars using CPI and preventing inflation from distorting results, which led to our statistical evidence of the shrinking middle and the income distribution, as you can see here, which shows a z-score of negative 10.18, showing a large deviation and a very low p-value, which goes on to show our conclusion of a shrinking middle class and how AI is shifting the job market to that either you're very skilled or take a job where you need more experience. That is on to show from our other visualizations here.
Hi, DataJam. This is Richard, and I'm Kingston, and we're with Skyline College Team 1. So, what happens when gas prices rise? Do people change how they drive or what they drive? Our project explores how gasoline price fluctuations influence electric vehicle adoption across California counties. So we use data sets from EIA, California DMV, and the US Census, and we analyze over a decade worth of data of gas prices and EV registration. So we combine time series analysis and Pearson correlation coefficient statistical tests to uncover patterns in EV adoption. But the results, however, shows that there are much more than one factor, which is gas prices, that affects EV adoption in California, and one of them is being the PHEV adoption. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, we are representing Sinclair Community College as DataJam Team 1, and we are investigating the impact that certain factors have on migration rates across the country.
Our hypothesis was that job opportunities would be the number one driver, followed by cost of living, climate, and quality of life.
We ended up finding that job opportunities were the highest driver, followed by the cost of living, climate, and quality of life being the least significant factor.
Yay Area! Our DataJam project is about Bay Area Rapid Transit, or BART, which is a heavy rail public transportation system in the San Francisco Bay Area. It connects different cities and helps people commute.
Before the COVID-19, many people used BART every day. It was a common way to travel to work or school.
However, ridership dropped a lot after COVID, and it hasn't fully recovered yet.
From our research, working from home is the main reason people don't need to commute as often.
So even though ridership is increasing, commuting patterns have changed.
Okay, you've seen the projects. Back to you, Brian.
Unmute me. Let's get talking about the awards. So the first thing I just want to remind everybody is that we do break up the awards into two pieces. That was in your packet. Hopefully you all read it and understood the awards or the categories. But there's over 30 categories that our judges scored based on a predefined rubric for both the poster and the presentations. And then we weight the presentations a little bit more than the posters because it's interactive. We get to really understand what you know about your project. So having a strong presentation is always good, as we talked about earlier, about communications and explaining results, etc. So we've incorporated all of that knowledge into the grading rubrics so that we can evaluate all your wonderful work and ultimately come up with our winners. So we will start off with the third place award, which goes to Sinclair College for their poster and presentation on Beyond the Paycheck, the Economic Drivers of U.S. Migration. So congratulations to Caitlin Popovich, Evan Terrell, and Yulia. So that, and just for fun, this trophy was AI generated. So it's wonderful now that I can very quickly adjust the little placard at the bottom with whatever the updated teams were. In the past, we just had a generic trophy. Second place goes to Skyline College Team 2, analysis of Bay Area rapid transit, ridership pre and post-COVID. Congratulations to Samantha Chang, Charlie Huang, Julian Lampaya, Daniel Shi, and Isabella Wu. Congratulations. So, everybody ready? Well, first I got to congratulate everybody. I don't want to just say everybody's a winner, but doing these projects are a lot of work. And I really do want to congratulate you on completing them, presenting, which can be a challenge, and hopefully you all fully understood or got a much deeper understanding of the problem you are investigating. So because the DataJam is an all-volunteer organization, and we do need funds to help keep things going. If you're inspired by tonight's winners or family members or friends, or you know any wonderful benefactors, please help us create more data scientists and data winners. Then you can just scan the QR code, or we'll just take you to the website, which you're all probably familiar with. So with that shameless plug, I'd like to introduce the winner of the 2026 College DataJam 2 Skyline College Team 1, what actually drives EV adoption in California. So congratulations to King-Sin Hua, Richard Liao, Wesley Wu, and Null Ong. Congratulations on a successful championship in this year's presentation. And I hope you all encourage other people you know who go into your colleges next year to participate, or in the fall. We do this twice a year. And with that, I'll just close with a big old thank you to, first off, the teams, all the teachers and advisors, the mentors, the advisory board, all our supporters, and the other people who I forgot to mention. So thank you all, and congratulations to all of our winners.